Hello everyone. Did you know that you can have a very advanced code editor absolutely for free? In today's video, I will show you how to transform the Vim editor into a user-friendly tool. And specifically, I'm going to go over the basic commands with you. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Let's start from the beginning. Probably the most critical thing, opening and closing the Vim editor. Actually, closing the Vim editor is probably the most critical. Before we fully start, let me sketch something in. On the right hand side, you will find all the commands used during this tutorial. Okay, the Vim opens with simple command V and enter. As you can see on the splash screen, the main thing is how to escape Vim. It is simple. Type :Q and enter. Why am I telling it at the beginning? Well, because escaping Vim gives beginners a hard time. Sometimes it's a really hard time. Before we start working on a specific file, I would like to show you how to search the folders and files I prepared. For displaying directories, use ls. Changing directory, use cd. Displaying by list with the switch -L. You can also see hidden files -A. And instead of typing clear, I use a shortcut to clear the screen, Ctrl-L. Okay, so let's open our first text file. It will be a plain text. In this place, I'm going to show you how to move around the screen. Of course, you can manipulate with the cursors and the up, down, left, right arrows, but for the Vim editor, HJKL are recommended, as you can see on attached notes. These keys are for movement. Now let's take a closer look at what a Python file looks like. Can you notice the missing attribute of this file? I believe you notice there is no highlighted syntax. Okay, so there is a quick fix for this. You can add the syntax on command, and at this point it is a more readable source code for the programmer. The entire syntax is clear, transparent and readable. There are no problems with this. It looks much better. Yeah. Okay, so let's exit this file. I would like to show you something else. Let's open this file once again. And as you can see, we have not highlighted syntax again. We have to turn it on, and to be fair, it's very annoying. The solution to this kind of problem is quite simple. So first, we have to find a Vim config file. Our config file for the Vim editor. In this case, we are going into the home folder. By the way, the tilde sign represents home folder. Now let's check pwd, print working directory, and we are in. At this moment, I'm displaying all hidden files because the file vimrc is a hidden file. We can edit it very quickly using the Vim editor. All we need to do is to enter the insert mode by hitting the I key. Type this particular command, and that's it. Escape, right, quit, and enter. Let's peek into this file using the command less to ensure all has been saved. Okay, so all good. Great. Let's try to return to our folder that contains this tutorial and open the file once again. As we can see, the entire syntax is very nicely highlighted. It's clear and readable for programmers. So, what else do we need? As we can see, there are no indentations, also known as Autoindent. We can fix it without much trouble. Just set Autoindent and voila, Autoindent works. However, most of you may have noticed that is not the correct indent required by Python language. That is 4 spaces. Again, it's straightforward to resolve, but we will work on it later in the subsequent stage. Escape file. Let's get into our config file one more time. In this case, we can do it in one line. The tilde key, and we are into the file. The I insert, set Autoindent. As I mentioned, it will not be the original Python indent. Check if updated. Great. Indentations are automatic. The cursor does not start from the beginning of the new row. It just automatically lands under the first word. Okay. As we can see, Python requires these particular indents, which are also improper, but we will sort this out later. Another thing that is very useful during typing is syntax autocomplete. This is very handy. Let's quickly create a few variables to demonstrate this feature and see how it works. Okay, so price equal, for example, 10, price 2, okay, tax 20, okay, start typing, hitting Ctrl+P, an expandable list allows us to choose a variable. Once again, for testing, Ctrl+P, and we can select a variable. And again, Ctrl+P. In this case, only one variable matched, so it was added automatically. The autocomplete syntax is a feature we don't need to add to the config file. It's used with the Ctrl+P. I almost forgot about numbering rows. This is a must-have for every text editor software. And traditionally, open our config file. And add set number. It will set this feature for all prospective files. Escape, write, and exit. But what if we want to have more files open at the same time in our editor? No problem. The Vim editor has a fantastic feature allowing us to open more files simultaneously. The command which will enable us to open more files is simple. Just type tab E and file name, hit tab and confirm the matching file name. Let's open one more file. Tab E, sample. Okay, great. On a side note, switching between tabs is performed using the page up and page down keys, actually Control and page up, page down. Instead of using page up and page down, we can use a mouse. In this case, we have to make the mouse active. You may guess what needs to be done. Yes, set a new command. Set mouse equal A. The A switch stands for all mouse attributes. And that's it. We have a fully working mouse. We can quickly move and switch between tabs. Actually, I prefer page up and page down, but the mouse will be more handy for some users. Closing active tab, colon, tab close, and enter. And closing next one is a Q, enter, OK. Let's move on to our favorite config file and assign this mouse attribute to make the mouse active every time. Set mouse equal A. Escape, colon, right Q, enter. At this point, we could move on to one of the most important things, which is searching in the text. For this purpose, we use the / as a marker. After placing the slash, we type the word we are looking for and press enter. And we have it found. Press enter again for the next occurrence, and so on. It's a continuous process. This is forward searching. If, on the other hand, we want to search backwards, we use the question mark and type the word we want to find. Press enter, and this way we search backwards in the text. One thing that arises here, one issue specifically, is that if we type in lowercase, it doesn't recognize whether it's uppercase or lowercase. To enable search in the text regardless of letter case, we must enter the ignore case command. At this point, it found it without problem. As we can see, it works quite well, although it's different from what we expected. It would be worthwhile if the entered text were highlighted to see immediately where it is. It's enough to issue the command HL search or highlight for search highlighting. OK. Instantly, while typing, the search word automatically lights up. Easy to find, and it looks much better. Okay, so the search feature in the Vim editor comes with some pretty neat functionality. It underlines the text you are entering in the real time as you type. For example, if we type Aldous right now, you will see it automatically underline as we go. Now, there is also something called as incremental search. As you start typing, the editor highlights the search phrase on the fly. Press enter and voila, it's right there, visible and ready. It's like your typical search function in many advanced text editors. Alright, let's close our file, and as per our usual routine, let me reopen our configuration file. This time we are going to add a few things related to search. Things like highlight search, also ignore case, meaning it will not care about uppercase or lowercase letter, and of course incremental search. Now we exit out of there. Okay, let's check if our tweaks are doing the job. Yes, it's working seamlessly. Everything we have added to the configuration file is saved, and we can use it hassle-free. Okay, so let's talk about the next topic: copy and paste. Simply highlight text using the mouse and press Y key. Now scroll down and hit P key, and the entire line has been pasted. We can also copy the entire line without highlighting. Being in the command mode, just hit the Y key twice, scroll down and hit P key, and voila, text pasted. Great. The next tip: if the cursor is placed on a particular word, hit the Y key. The single word has been copied to the buffer. P, paste, and one word pasted. In general, the entire process of copying pasting is quite simple. However, it can be complicated for new users at the beginning. We have to shake out typical Windows Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. Additionally, if we highlight the text using a mouse, the Vim mode switches to visual, and we have to quit this mode by hitting escape. That's a minor inconvenience. Okay, let's copy a more significant snippet of text to an entirely new file. In this case, push the command :Tab E, which stands for New File in New Tab. P, and we have the entire text pasted. It's worth mentioning that the new file is located in a buffer. We need to give it a name and save it. So, :W means write, space, and the name of the file. A new file has been created. Let's do one more copy-paste from a new file. Highlight text using a mouse, Y, go to the new file, P. You probably notice a difference between the previous file and the new file. The syntax is not highlighted. The reason why it happened is because highlighting is recognized by file extension. It is .txt, not .py from Python. Okay, we can pass to the next stage, I think. Deleting a single word or deleting the entire line of text. As a side note, I use the key W to skip from one word to another. It's very handy because if a cursor is placed on a particular word, we can use keys DW to execute the delete command and automatically switch to the insert mode. We can type a new word. But if we want to delete the entire row, we can place the cursor on any word of the text and hitting D twice, it will delete the whole line of text and we can type a new sentence. Why am I talking about this function? We must realize that programmers or system administrators spend a lot of time writing scripts or system tools. They need to change a word or variable or the entire line of code very quickly. That's why DW and DD are handy shortcuts. Fine. Next step and a few words about the switching to insert mode. The most simple and well-known is switching by the letter I. On the right-hand side, I put more letters. Those are handy and allow us to enter text instantly after the cursor. For example, letter A, append, and lowercase o, typing one line below the cursor, uppercase O with shift, enter text above the cursor. Yes, and actually, I would like to stress it once again. I choose these particular shortcuts by design. In my opinion, it will speed up the process of writing scripts. And by the way, if we would like to take back changes since the document has been opened, we can use letter U. Pressing the U key once restores the previous changed word. To make our work more pleasant, I encourage you to install one of many color schemes. In this case, we need a Git version control system installed on our computer, because I will demonstrate how to download and install color scheme directly from GitHub. Don't worry, no need to be an expert or advanced user. Minimal knowledge is absolutely fine. We will be using only one command, actually, it means clone. Okay, let's start. On my computer, I have to switch the user to the root account and install Git. Because I work on CentOS, the command will be yum install. As we can see, the Git program is installed. Actually, I should check at the beginning git -- version to make sure Git is in the system already. Okay, let's move on to the GitHub, the place where we can find interesting color schemes required by our editor. Highly encourage you to Google Vim color schemes. You may find something interesting. For me personally, this specific website is absolutely enough. I choose a color scheme named Groovebox. There is a link to the GitHub portal from the previous website. From here, we don't need to create an account. Just click on code, then copy link. Now return to the terminal And please pay attention to the destination folder. The Vim color scheme is located in a hidden folder, which is located in our home folder. Inside you will find folder colors. And this folder will contain a color scheme. All we need to do is enter the command git clone space and paste the link copied from GitHub earlier and enter. The rest happens automatically. Great. All files downloaded to our hidden Vim folder. You may notice that the color scheme groovebox also contains a folder named colors. In this particular folder, we will find a configuration file. And now the crucial factor. We have to copy this file to the folder 2 levels down. I know it may sound a little unclear, but please look at the folder path I'm typing. Let's check our directory colors and what it contains. This is the configuration file. Once again, we must open the well-known config file, vimrc, and add 2 lines of instructions. The first will be a set background. I choose dark. You can use light. The second instruction will be the name of the color scheme. Save and quit. We can quickly open the same file once again, and as we can see, the color scheme has been updated. I recommend opening a file containing more advanced text or snippets of code for better contrast. We can see nicely highlighted syntax. It's more pleasant for visual aspects, and working with Vim editors does not strain our eyes. Okay, so maybe let's open another file in a new tab. And one more. Okay. Actually, that's all regarding the visual aspects of our editor. Now, I would like to put forward one of the most valuable features of Vim, running the Python code directly from the Vim editor. In this case, we must check if the Python interpreter is installed on our computer. As we can see, it is. But I will go through the installation process quickly for people who do not have Python 3. Switch user and log in to the root account. For a system based on Red Hat such as Fedora or CentOS, we are using yum installer. To satisfy your curiosity, the acronym stands for Yellow Dog Updater Modified, and it was developed by programmers working on the Yellow Dog Linux system. Type yum, install Python 3 and enter. As a result, we have confirmation that Python 3 is ready to go. Exit from the root account and clear the screen with the shortcut Ctrl-L. I suggest to create a new Python file. We can do it simply by opening the Vim editor. This file will be only the example for presenting how to run a code directly from the editor. In this case, I created 2-3 variables only to see the Python interpreter in action. Ctrl+P, Autocomplete Syntax, number, Ctrl+P, Autocomplete Syntax, escape, W for save. OK. So, our concise snippet of code is ready. Now, let's run Python interpreter. Exclamation mark, clear. It will clear the terminal screen. Calls Python interpreter. Remember to put 3 as a version. % symbol. This symbol represents a current active file. Great. It works pretty nice. But we have to answer one question. Is it convenient to enter long instructions each time we want to run a code? Of course not. Most editors have this feature triggered by hitting one key on the keyboard. As you notice from this tutorial, Vim is an extremely powerful tool. I will show you how to map one key to the particular instruction. I suggest mapping this particular instruction under the F5 key. Clear screen, call Python 3, CR means, one sec, I forgot about the % current file, and CR means enter. Cool. Save the file, and now I pressed F5 and it works. Great. The key is assigned, but what if we are currently working on this file and we are inside the insert mode and we will press F5? Okay, nothing happened. It doesn't work. I think we can fix this issue immediately in the right way. Let's go to our most open file today, vimrc, and add 2 lines of instructions. The first is related to mapping in command mode. The file type will be Python. We are mapping the contents of a buffer. Assign F5 key as we agreed earlier and run a command. So clear the screen, call Python interpreter. It is crucial to put number 3 and not only Python, because Python 2 can be the default in our system. And we all know that the code can be different on Python 2. And % current file and enter. CR means enter. Before I put a second instruction, just quickly check if it works. Yes, all good. Once again, open the configuration file. Let's copy this line. We can do it by clicking Y key twice, new line, and P paste. And now it's time to map F5 key under the so-called insert mode. We have to remember, if we are insert mode, the first step will be escape from insert mode. Next, colon, save and enter. Removing space between instructions is essential. Check one more time to make sure all is correct. Yes, all good. We can save and exit. Opening our sample file, hit F5 in command mode, it works. Switch to insert mode and make some changes. F5 works perfectly as well. Once again F5, good. Once again insert mode, small changes, F5, and works as expected. So the F5 key triggers Python interpreter in both modes. It's very beneficial attribute that can make, I think, our work more effective. It's time to add a few essential commands and attributes to the configuration file. At the beginning, let's add no compatible mode. By default, Vim starts in no compatible mode, which means it is incompatible with the older version of the V editor. We only do this to prevent unexpected changes to the entire system. It is also worth mentioning that all add-ons implemented in the newer version of the Vim editor would be disabled if we had the compatible mode. Next will be file type indent. The indent depends on the file extension. We set the indent width for 4 spaces, exactly as Python requires. OK. Save, exit. It's time to test our code. In this case, let's build a small function to see how indents work in the real example. Function name amount colon enter, and here it is, correct indent that contains 4 spaces. Let's do for loop and enter. Maybe one if statement. Okay. Please do not judge me for the lack of logic in this function. It's only for testing purposes. Print Ctrl P autocomplete syntax, and cool. As you can see, the entire function is nicely built with the all required indents. Actually, it works perfectly and looks nice. I want to show one more thing, probably the last one. Split screen. Split the screen in half. We often work on 2, 3 or more files simultaneously, and a preview of the second file is very handy. The command :split, and we have the second part of the screen for a new file. Command :e space name of the file, hit tab to autocomplete name, enter. And we have 2 files opened on the same screen. This is an up and down split screen. There is one more option for dividing the screen: vertical split. Cut the screen on the left and right working areas. This one is, I think, more popular among programmers. Let's open different file in active window. Command :E. Start typing and hit Tab. Open one more window inside editor. And maybe one more to see how it looks. In this window, we have a screen divided between two files. Curiously enough, we notice something like the word wrapping. Is it good for programmers that rows are wrapping? I don't think so. Traditionally, change a few settings in the config file. Before we go there, see the useful command tab only. This command closes the rest of the open files. Inside the vimrc, add the set no wrap. OK. Save, W and quit. Let's see these settings in action. Split the screen in half and open the next file. Excellent. As we can see, rows are not wrapping on the left side. It is exactly as it has been created. Being in a split screen topic, I want to briefly mention the Vim Help. Basically, it's a straightforward and works similarly to typical Linux help: help and subject. You can switch between various matching words using the tab key. For example, split views. I'm not going to go deeper in this topic. The help for Vim is very well described and the entries are well explained. Before we finish, let me make one slight adjustment. Return to the config file and delete the entry about wrapping rows. I don't like this feature. Instead of setting this option permanently fixed, I prefer a different solution. If we have two files, one with wrapping rows, I use set no wrap only when needed. Lastly, I would like to share my private opinion about the mapping instructions under the specific keys. As we know, the Linux terminal is used broadly for connecting to external systems. Let's connect with a remote computer via SSH protocol. Password. As we can see, we are connected to the remote server. It's Ubuntu configured as an Apache server for running one app. Let's imagine we would like to edit one file on the remote server. We will be using Vim editor as well. Insert mode, make some changes and run a code hitting F5, and it doesn't work. So let's not make a habit of mapping everything under specific keys, because it will not work on remote systems. Thank you for dedicating your time to watch this video, and I hope you enjoyed. I appreciate any feedback, so please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and see you in the next video.